Hello, welcome pen friends. I have been enjoying 30 Inks 30 days so far, and we're on day 6 now, but I am going to go ahead and cover the first 5 days because I have so much to say about the inks, and I thought it might be fun, and it also might be a better idea than trying to do 10 at once, which is fun but very difficult to do. So far I've broken every rule that I've made and every rule I've ever known about. I started thinking I would just use the Lamy Vista, but then I could not clean Sailor Manyo Akebi out of it because I loved the ink so much. There was no way that I was cleaning that out. So I just started choosing pens, and then I decided, hey, why not just clean the ones out that I just don't want to continue to write with? So out of the 5, I still have 3 inked up. I have the Sailor Manyo Akebi in this one, the Lamy Vista, and then I have Krishna Winter in this Genhao X750. And then from yesterday, I still haven't cleaned out Colorverse Coffee Break out of my Moon Man M600S Tiger's Eye. This, gosh, I can't believe I haven't been writing with this pen for a little while. It's got a nice broad nib on it. And I've got one pen friend in particular I want to write the letter to with brown because it's in the color scheme of the person. I mean, they like browns and darker colors. So yesterday I had to go out of town and I didn't get to completely do what I wanted. Anyway, that says something, I think. I like these 2 inks, but I didn't leave them inked up. Because my intention all along has been clean it out fairly soon, or the next day, or that night, and start again. Anyway, I always use broad nibs, and I've had to notate in my ink journal what I'm using. So what we'll do is we'll get into the ink journal, and then for each ink I have a total of the 9 inks to compare to that I thought would be fun. But before we do, I just wanted to mention, when I talk about Krishna Winter, it's this beautiful pink, pinky purple, pinky, really pretty, but there's more than one that are called Winter. So this is the little box that came in, and you know, it indicates the color on the outside, and it is the RC series, and I got this at Pen Chalet. It's a 20 ml little bottle. Whoops, I guess I opened it from the bottom, I don't know. So that was just, I wanted to clear that up because I think there is confusion about it because there's another ink color. It's either blue or purple, or it's a different color that's also called Winter, but it also has a different little designator. But this is RC series Winter. Okay, in case I forget to mention that. So let's move over to the ink journal. And my ink journal this time is a Goulet notebook with a dot grid, and it's 68 GSM Tomoe River paper. And I really love it. I put my stickers on the front. I attempted to put, this is my 4th one. This didn't quite work out. The ink and the gel pen just didn't quite work out. So I'm probably going to get a really fine paintbrush and get some paint and make it more visible. But other than that, it's pretty good. Okay, so my first ink was Sailor Manyo Akebi. And I got the... Okay, I got the bottle of this from Vanness, 50 ml for $24. Their samples are $3. And I had it in my Lamy Vista, and I couldn't clean it out. I loved it so much. It's just gorgeous. Let me see if I can lift it up so you can see some of the shading. It has lovely, lovely shading. And it's that purple kind of magenta color that I just love. Let's see if we can see that. I mean, of course, when you're writing, you're not going to see it like this, but this is just gorgeous. It's got that green sheen and so much interest. And I do notice shading throughout my writing. And of course, it's the broad Lamy nib. Just beautiful. I could write with it all day, and I have written quite a bit with it. So this is the chromatography and the water test. It's a very typical fountain pen ink, and it didn't... you know, didn't have any water resistance, but it's just gorgeous. Oh, Coco, it's okay. Oh, my goodness, did you hear that? He's really upset, I guess. Okay, let's look at some ink comparisons. There. It was really clear to me once I started to you know, do the comparisons why I really love this ink, it falls right into that territory of colors that I really love. Coco, honey, oh, it's going to be hard. He's really wanting me right now. And I've noticed with my cat Coco that as we're getting out a little bit more, he doesn't like it. You know, he's used to having us right here. So anyway, we'll see if I can do the video or not. I feel guilty because I had to be gone yesterday. So right in the middle is our ink, Sailor Manyo Akebi, and it compares really well to Pilot Iroshizuku Yamabudo. It's just gorgeous. It's got that pop to it, that brightness that I really love in an ink. And then up here is Straight's Pen Honest Ink Bougainvillea Purple, one of my very favorites. And that's got a lot of complexity too, and I love it. So some of these, like Diemen Robert, is going to come out of a nib a lot darker, and it's got an insane amount of sheen. So, but I still thought it compared. I mean, you could see the guts of it. The ink color very much reminded me of it. Same thing with Hipponoto Kiwi inks. Okay, this has got shimmer too, and it's got tons of sheen. So it's got the blue shimmer and the green sheen, and it comes out of the nib almost, you know, almost black to my eyeballs, but it's gorgeous. The base color, I think that's what makes this one so pretty for art. You know, is the base color is gorgeous, and of course all of that sheen and shimmer is nice too. But coming out of a nib, I don't like this one as much as I do the Sailor Manyo Akebi. Let's see, Krishna Anakai. I think I only had there's a cat here. I only had a 2 ml sample of this one, so my memory's a little bit rusty. But Noodler's Purple Mountain Majesties, of course it's not a match, but I love this in nibs too, and it has a lot more water resistance. But it's in good company here. And to go lighter, Monteverde Rose Noir. Let's compare with Krishna Winter. I loved both of these, and they were a long ways apart in terms of shade and color, but they're just gorgeous. I just thought we'd do that because that's coming up. So let's go to the next color. The other thing I did different this time was I left the back pages so I could really not worry about if it went through. So I'm not sure if that was the way to go, but anyway, I did it. Next was Robert Oster Lemon Grass. I got that sample from pen friend KS, and I wrote with it in the Lamy NEXX with a broad nib. Now, this was just a little light for me, but I still thought it was a really beautiful ink, and it has a lot of readability, and it has lovely shading. It's really pretty. It's just that having tried so many greens, I think I just need a little more saturation for me. But it's gorgeous. It's really, really pretty. I did clean it out of the pen, and that pen is not in use right now, because when it came to yesterday, I wanted to get a pen that kind of matched the ink, so I went with that. But let's look at the comparisons real quick. And I didn't really have anything that really matched it, but I thought that it was interesting to look at all these beautiful inks. I remember loving Krishna Sufi. That's a limited edition ink, and it's just gorgeous, nicely saturated and complex. And let's see. It's really not fair because I don't have a good memory of how some of these looked in the nibs. Slowpoke Green, I remember that one being pretty too. So this is just sort of what I did have, but I just didn't have very many that were exactly. I had a few Birmingham, but they're not being produced anymore, the same ones. It was an old formula, so I didn't want to include them because I really don't think that's fair. It just would be frustrating, I think. Although it's probably frustrating on this one too, because if I remember right, that was hard to find. And then Monteverde Olivine is really, really pretty in a nib. That's a beautiful ink. So it's fun. I really like doing this, even though it would require a little bit more, and I would slow down to do that if I was trying to match or look for what else I have that's exactly the same, but I like a little darker. So it was a lot of fun though to find the comparisons. So day 3 was Van Diemen's Spotted Sun Orchid from the Wilderness series, and I had that in my Lamy NEXX broad nib as well. Let's see, I believe I purchased that sample. I had not noted it on the little card here that it was from someone, and I've been pretty consistent about that. So I believe that's one that I purchased because I wanted to see what it looked like. But it's a gorgeous kind of dusty purple, and it's beautiful, just beautiful. It has plenty of readability. I do generally like bright and intense psychedelic purples, you know. So this wouldn't be something I'd purchase a bottle of, but I do think it's a gorgeous ink, well worth looking at and writing with and trying out. So it's got great flow and saturation, and I just really liked it. Let's see, and I got my comparisons here, but this is the ink tile for this one. So before I get into the comparisons, I just wanted to show you that it made me turn back into my ink journal number 2, and I found Robert Oster Muddy Crown, and that kind of reminds me of this ink. Now this is lighter, or it appears to be lighter, and I was writing with a broad nib here too, but you can see in just about everything except maybe the splatter that the Van Diemen's is a little lighter, but it's in that family. So if you were interested, I just wanted to show you that right before we look at the comparisons. I'm really wondering how I ever did 10 inks at once. Oh my gosh. Anyway, this is much better. This is the Van Diemen's Spotted Sun Orchid in the middle, and it does compare face to face really well with Muddy Crown. That's probably what made me go searching through my ink journals. It's just a dial up of darker, I guess, just a little bit darker in your Muddy Crown, but that's a gorgeous ink too. And then Robert Oster's Sydney Lavender seems darker. I'd have to get it in a nib again to really compare it. And of course I've got the whole spectrum. I've got way lighter here. Ferris Wheel Press Little Robina is very light but nice and pretty. And then Diemen Amazing Amethyst on the surface reminded me of it. Actually, I think it's nib memory that made me think that would look similar, but it's really much more comparable down here in these. And then Monteverde Birthday Cake is very bright. Robert Oster Deep Purple is just so saturated and dark. And then we go to the opposite extreme with the Robert Oster Viola. These two are very lightly saturated, and they don't please me in a nib, but they would several people I know. So, now I don't know why Diemen Bilberry. I must have been having trouble getting in the ballpark there when I was picking these. So, let's move on to number 4. I was really excited to find this little ink at Pen Chalet. My pen friend from Australia had been splattering on letters and sending me little cards and writing with this ink, and I just really loved it, and I was really intrigued. So I still have it in my Jen Howe X750, like I said, breaking all the rules with a nice Yo-O broad nib, and that's what I used here. And we looked at the box and the ink bottle already, but this has beautiful sheen as well. Let's see if I turn it toward the light so you can kind of see it. And it's just a really pretty pink. It's a happy color. It makes me really happy. It was Easter Day. Now, I did not plan that when I put those together, but it was Easter Day when I was writing with this, and so it was really nice. It was a quiet day. Of course, we stayed home, and I attended services online, and then we had our beans that I cooked and stuff. But this is the chromatography. So this one is a softer pink than some of the magenta inks and purpley, pink purple inks that I've really fallen in love with, but I love it. It is very pretty, and I love that it comes in the smaller bottle because that's perfect. 20 mil is just perfect. To not feel like you've got like 90 mils laying around if it's one that you're going to want to use, but not every single day or not, constantly daily use. So let's look at the comparisons on this. I'm sure that's going to be fun too. Okay, so we're all over the place here, and Sometimes I wonder about the ones I pick out, but I went through every single pink I had, and probably could do that now, but it would just take forever. So our Krishna Winter is in the middle. It's the RC series. And it just called to mind, especially the Krishna Black Rose, but it's a whole different, it's more maroon, and it's darker, and it's very interesting. But I wanted to also do the Kobe number 41 Suma Riku Rose, which I have now decided to put in the lineup because, well, I shouldn't say that because I need to check and see if I've already done that one. I found out I've already done Van Diemen's Black Tongue Spider Orchid. So I had to pull this out of the 30. So assuming I haven't already done this one, I'll put that in. And if I have, well, that leaves me a spot in my 30 inks 30 days. Breaking all the rules and going crazy. Okay. So this is a shimmer ink, Van Diemen's Diamonds Are a Girl's Best, or BFF. It's not going to look the same in a nib. I know it's darker and it's just different, but I don't know why. It just kind of evoked the same mood. And then I've been writing with Noodler's Mata Hari's Cordial, and that is different, but it made me think of it anyway. Lamy Vibrant Pink, that gives a good comparison between the two. You get all this sheen on the top of the winter ink, so it does affect it in terms of when you look at it in a splotch, a splatter, or anything like that. And then Monteverde Kindness Pink. Actually, I wish I had gotten out another pink. Hold on. Okay, so I really didn't want to leave the room without comparing Diemen Hope Pink so that you could see that there's just a brightness difference. And this is bright and cheery, Krishna Winter, but Diemen Hope Pink is just much more intense. In fact, I think I'd rather read this in a letter than the Hope Pink, even though it's gorgeous, it's beautiful. It's pretty intense, that's all. Okay, so let's move on to ink number 5. And ink number 5, which was yesterday for me, I know you may be viewing it at a different time. I have it in the Moonman M600S with a broad Yowo nib on it. It just made me think of the pen, and I got it out and inked it up, and I haven't cleaned it out yet because I've got a pen friend that's next that I'm writing to that I really want to write with this ink. So it's Colorverse Coffee Break, and I got the 4 mil sample from Vanness Pens, and it's the Joy in the Ordinary series. Now, when I filled the number in, it was really dark. It almost looks black. It's just crazy. And then when I did here, this was just a little bit of, with a water brush after, it did soften it some, but it was pretty dark to begin with, and I just kept drawing more of the color to just put in there. It was just for fun. It's got a nice complex chromatography. It leaves almost a purple color, kind of a dusty purple. You can see it has some water resistance, which is very interesting. And then the splatter doesn't have really sheen, but it goes from light brown to a really dark brown, and it's pretty. I noticed online that you could get a 30 mil for $12 at Dromgool's. Different places were either sold out or, it's just different whenever you look. But so that makes it about 40 cents a mil. But it's a gorgeous brown, and it had me really curious to compare with other browns, so that's what we're going to do. There. Okay, so Colorverse Coffee Break in the middle. I thought it compared really well to these two Jacques Arbon inks. It maybe didn't have quite as much water resistance as these two, but it was in that ballpark, and the color really kind of reminded me too. So this was the one it's called, I can't pronounce it. I'm not going to mangle it, but let me hold it up so you can really see it. It's really, really pretty. The Lee, I had something written down so that I could pronounce this for years. I could pronounce it, but now I've forgotten again. Anyway, oh, that really irks me that I can't remember. But it does seem to be in the same ballpark, and I remember it being just this is a gorgeous brown coming out of the nib. And so, that I felt like, ooh, that would, I wouldn't need to go beyond my sample, because this ink I really love too. And then some of these others just reminded me, even the chestnut brown, because it's just so warm, and it just reminded me, whoops. And then of course I have to compare everything to SBRE brown, which is of course it's going to look a little orange on here because the camera, the lights and everything change it. That's one of my favorite browns, and it's just gorgeous. But I also like to have a medium brown, and that's what I consider this to be. One that I haven't tried that I'd like to try, but I just won't put the coins forward for the Sailor 50 States Texas is a beautiful brown that I think might compare to this. I'm not sure. It's something that I probably should just try to order a sample of or something. And then Tasha Golden Wheat, which is that warm, beautiful color. I remember loving it in a nib. And that was just a sample too. That came in either an ink flight, or I went and ordered the Tasha inks that I didn't have. But this was just a lot of fun. This is part of what I enjoy the most, is just dabbling with the colors. And I know it's really early in the 30 inks 30 days, but this so far, day one, Sailor Manyo Akebi is my favorite. It just, that intense, bright, saturated, all of that shading that you get, and just the wild, beautiful sheen in the splatters. I can't get it out of my mind, and I almost wish it wasn't in the Lamy Vista, so I could I like testing with this one. So what I might do is just choose a pen specifically for this ink and clean it out of here, just to get this back as a review pen, because every single day the inks aren't ones that I will want to continue to write with. And anyway, I'm really gone berserk this month. I guess I'm so tired of restrictions that I'm not going to put any restrictions on myself. The only thing is to have fun, so that's what I've been doing. I'm going to turn the camera around, try to add to this if I can before saying goodbye. So I'm really enjoying 30 inks 30 days, and I hope that you are too. It's just so much fun. And gosh, I see. Oh, I see. Okay. I was looking at numbers on my camera. I get so distracted. So Sailor Manyo Akebi is my favorite so far. It's a purple. It's kind of magenta to me in a way. That's what my eyes see too. And then today, day 6, I'm actually writing with Robert Oster Orange Rumble, and it's a real 70s color. It's really pretty. So one of the most enjoyable things about 30 inks 30 days for me is seeing what everybody else is doing, and when you run across an ink that someone else is doing that's either in your lineup or you've already done or you're familiar with, it's really exciting because you can kind of see what they're seeing that you haven't seen yet, or like the different perspectives, and maybe they're using a different nib too. I mean, I'm sticking with the broad nibs because that's what I write all my letters with, and I journal with a medium nib a lot, but I really love the broad nibs. So I hope you're having a good time, and I'll try to do this in the 5-day segments because I just can't believe how much I have to say about each ink, even when I keep it short. And yet I'm not really wanting to commit to a daily video again. I did that 3 or 4 times in the past, and I know what ends up happening. It's been pretty busy around here. We're doing some carpentry work, and yesterday Manyo got me this shelf. I just love it. I haven't yet figured things out. It's a little bit cluttery. It's full because of my ink shelf over here, but that'll be fun this summer, working on redoing the wall and trying to, you know, get things organized. But anyway, I'm going to let you go now because this is going to be too long, and I'm hoping I have enough storage in my camera to even get it to happen. So have a good time, and I'm trying to get around to all the different videos and the Instagram posts and see everybody's, because it's just a lot of fun. It's just like there's not enough time in the day, it seems like. So I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.